Now it's time for Teacher Talk, James's thoughts and insights into teaching international students.
Hello, teachers, and welcome to this week's Teacher Talk. And we're talking about thinking in English and how to get your students to stop thinking in English and how to get them to stop translating. You hear this so many times, and I think probably you tell students you need to stop translating. You need to think in English. I know that. I hear that all the time from teachers, but students look and say, how do I do that? How do I do that? Well, let's take a look back at how the brain has been developed. Generally speaking, they have memorized, just rote memorization, rote learning, teacher-centered activities that everybody, including us as teachers, we all have gone through. And any activity that we did as a child was most likely teacher-centered and asking us to memorize or to do different activities again and again and again until we got it. And it is okay for children. It is okay to do like that. But for adults, we often call this too much teacher talking time. So it's too heavily centered on the teacher. So we need to reduce our teacher talking time. That is one piece of advice. And that's fine. Yes, that is correct. But the problem is our brain and the student's brain. It basically has two ways to work. One, the brain works automatically, means that we learn something just instinctively, quickly. Think of a child when we're teaching them how to read or sing or dance. They're doing this all intuitively, naturally, without much effort. No sense of control over what they're learning. It's just boom in their brain and they got it. Then there is the other style of learning, and that's with a lot of effort. Maybe you're writing your thesis or your PhD, you're doing a master's degree. There's a lot of research and effort, and there's a lot of work to learning. To learn a language is with the first method. It needs to be automatic. It needs to go into your brain automatically, without a lot of effort. If you're spending a lot of effort to learn a sentence, or spending a lot of effort to teach a sentence or a structure or a grammar structure or something, then your students probably are not going to learn it. It needs to be automatic. Now, how do you train everyday students in this methodology? How do you get them to think automatically in English? Very hard. Understood. Not too many people have developed it out there, or people would be learning a second language quite easily. It's not an easy thing to do, and I'm not here to tell you I've got the great answer. There needs to be several things going on at the same time so as to stop the translating. All right? You need to activate different senses at the same time. Okay? So the brain doesn't have time to think, and the brain doesn't have time to translate. Yeah. And that is one effective tool. Now, using that total physical response may be a good technique. Adults, though, kind of say, I don't want to move around and get up and dance and sing and move my feet or do something at the same time, and that may be hard to do, to get adults to do it. But you may have more success with kids. Getting them out of their comfort zone and getting them to use different senses is the first step to stop the translation. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the study at ESL Textbooks and how we did this in our textbooks, how we created an activity to stop translating. Now, the activity we created is called Word Flash. All right, it's an activity where students are able to touch the screen and they have to make sentences based on words that flash up on the screen. So they need to see the screen, they need to read the words, they need to think quickly and speak it very, very quickly. And they only have 30 seconds to do this, all right? They only have 30 seconds to try to make 10 different sentences. Yeah, 10 different sentences. So they've got to go quickly. And the application that we're using flashes up quickly right in front of their eyes. And they do not have time to translate because the next one's coming. They either know it or they don't, or they instinctively can make a sentence out of it. Now, why did we pick 30 seconds? And this is a 30-second activity, and it will blow the minds of your students. And we picked 30 seconds because normal speakers, native speakers, I guess, but it doesn't have to be native speakers. I don't always like that term, but normal speakers, speakers of English, they speak 100 to 120 words a minute. Yeah. So how do we check our students' ability if they're not speaking 100 words a minute? If they are speaking 60 words a minute or less, they're translating. All right? They're translating the content. So in Word Flash, we're giving them the opportunity to make 10 seconds in 30 seconds, which roughly works out to be, about 60 to 70 words. Now, it's really hard. It's really tough, and very few students can do it. But it does give you, the teacher, a tool to educate the students on how they're using their brain and how to stop the translation. Now, there are other ways and other methods that you could probably find out there, but Word Flash in our Study It textbooks, and we have them in our grammar and our conversation books, really helps to break down that translation technique that students are using. And it really helps to bring it forward and why students need to think more quickly and activate their brain in a different way. Because what you are telling students who are coming into your English classes, you're telling them that the way they've studied English for the past 20, 30 years is wrong. And that's really hard. That's really hard for adult learners to hear because they're paying you and they want their language to improve. And you're saying, I'm sorry, but the way you've learned is wrong. And many students will fight you on that. They'll say, well, I had a great teacher who taught me this or taught me that. Well, it's true. Maybe you did have a great teacher, and maybe they did teach you a few words, and maybe you did go from zero to intermediate very quickly, and that's not terribly difficult to help students to get from a false beginner level up to an intermediate level. We can do that quickly. What is hard to do is to stop them from translating and stop their brain from translating and getting them to think in English. And Word Flash game that we've created in the Study It books, and again, I'm sorry if there's a bit of a commercial, but it is really one of the best exercises I have seen and I have used as an English teacher out there, because it really shows the students how much they're translating. And when you put a number and tell them, you've got to do this in 30 seconds, and you're creating 60 words, and if you can do this, then you are speaking at a native speaker level. That means your brain is not translating. And many will work hard to do it. And then from the Word Flash, you can create other games, and you'll see how it works. And you can create other activities to exercise the brain, because that's all we're doing is exercising the brain. So I'm sorry if this is a bit of a commercial for Study It, but this is what we've developed. And this is how we stop the translation and get students to think about how to think in English. And it's not just something we throw out to students and say, you need to think in English. We actually have a way to help you to think in English. I hope that will help you. Download the Study It books. They're studyitbooks.com. You can go onto the website. You can download the books. We can also, if you subscribe, of course, you can get a sample textbook. And, it is a commercial. I get it. I understand. I don't usually do these activities, but I just want to help students and help teachers, specifically help students, to stop translating. And it's a difficult argument, and if you're a new teacher out there, how do you explain this to students? How do you show them? How do you get them to buy into it and believe that what you're doing is right? And of course, all the other stuff that you're probably doing, if you're doing project-based learning, flipped classrooms, all of these activities that are not teacher-centered, great. But you still need to get them to buy into this non-translation method and understand their brain. They need to understand how they've been learning English, which is usually wrong, and how they need to learn English and how they need to stop translating. So I hope this idea will help you teachers. And thank you, as always, for tuning in to The James Rice Show.
The Study It textbooks are the first ever completely digital and interactive English as a second language textbook series. Once downloaded, these textbooks do not require a Wi-Fi connection. Students and teachers can use them anywhere, anytime. Used in over 40 schools, universities, and NGOs worldwide. Study It is the future of English teaching. Visit www.studyitbooks.com for more information.